Yeah, welcome to today's class. Today we want to look at array initialization. The last class we did something on indices, memory addresses, and compiler mapping. So we want to look at how to initialize an array, right? So what is array initialization? Array initialization is the process of assigning values to the element of an array when it is declared or before used in a program, right? That is the meaning of array initialization. Now, students often confuse initialization and declaration. So in this class, we are going to differentiate the two. So without wasting much time, let's begin. Now, if you declare an array, say int scores, and then you have 5 to it. This is declaration. Now, before an array can be used effectively, it must be assigned values. That is what we call array initialization. So this is declaration. In this declaration, what you've done, you have given data type, right? Array name, and the size of the array to the compiler. So at this stage, memory address is allocated. Memory is allocated in the physical space. So this one is what? Data type, right? This one is what? Array name. And then this is what? Array size. So this is what you've done. So the compiler knows the data type. And I told you that the data type is what? Is the nature of the array. Now with this integer, it means 4 bytes to be allocated for each element. 4 bytes to be allocated for each element. So the syntax for this, looking at this, is what? Data type, array name, right? And then size. So this is declaration. We have not initialized yet. Now, if this score is declared inside a main function like this, int, for example, main, inside a main function, that is, this is C language, I taught this. So we say int scores, and then this. If this is done, right, and then we'll close this. This will be given garbage values in the memory, garbage values. So what that means is you've been allocated the land, but it's still bushy, it's not cleared, right? That is what this means. But if this array is declared outside of this main function, then the initial values will be what? 0, 0, 0, 0. Or if we add static here, then that will also be what? Value 0. So you have to take note that those are the various ways, right? The values can be assigned to array element. Now, how do we initialize this array? There are several methods we can use to initialize the array. So that I'm going to explain. So the first one is that if we declare the array, say int scores, and we say the value is what? Size 5. Now, we can initialize this array at this stage of declaration by just putting this, and then we use curly bracket. So let's assign value to this: 70, 80, 90, 65, and then 100. So this is it. This is the way you have what? Initialize this array. This is one method. Another method is that we can infer the size, scores, and we will not put any value here. And then we will do 10, 20, 30, 40. So with this, the compiler automatically inferred that the size of array equals to what? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So the indices will be what? 0, 1, 2, 3. The indices for this will be what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the index for this element in the logical world. But the compiler is going to what? Create memory addresses in the physical world, which is what? In the memory for this array. And I told you in the last class that memory is to what? Byte. While this index is to what? The element. Then it is the responsibility of the compiler to convert these indices to what? To the memory addresses where the CPU, the central processing unit, is going to access to pull out or to insert these values. So that is another way of assigning values. Then another one again, you can initialize this. You can say int scores. I will say 5, and then we initialize 10, 20. We can do this. So automatically, since we supplied only two elements, values to two elements, the remaining one will be what? 0, 0, 0, right? The remaining three will be what? 0, 0 will be assigned to them. So this is another way of initializing an array. Then the last method to initialize an array is to use a for loop. That one, I'm going to write a small C program to demonstrate that for you. You can use a for loop. I taught this in my C class, so you can check out the playlist. But I will just demonstrate it for you to see here. So I can do this. I will say um, include. So I'm using C language, stdio.h, right? Now I am writing this library function, this, because I will need the print and the scanf function. Now I can say int main. Now inside this place, I'm going to declare my array. Say int, let's call it max, right? And then 5. I'm declaring it. So I've not initialized yet. This is declaration. Now, from here, because I'm going to use indices, so index 0 to what? 4, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My array size is 5. So I will also declare the index int I, right? The index int I. Then I'll bring in my for loop. I'll say for, then I'll put my conditions inside this place. I will assign value to this I. So I assign 0, then this. So I will say if I less than 5, then this, increment I. So inside this my for loop, I will test this condition. If it is true, then I will come in. What will I do? Here I will say print f. Now this function is gotten from this library. That's why I included it. So I don't have to write this function all over. I just call it from here. So print f, then a string literal, enter mark, then percentage %d. So this, comma, I plus 1. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply saying print out this on the screen, enter mark, then my I is what? 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1. So it's going to print out, it is going to print out enter mark 1 on the screen. Then I will enter 10, for example. When I enter 10, it will do another thing here. I will call another function, scanf. Scanf. This scanf percentage %d, this is a format specifier. We take this 10 and store it in the address of max I. Right, this is what will happen. So when I enter 10, it will print out this on the screen, enter Mark 1. Then I will enter 10. The scan F will collect that 10 and store it in this place. Right? That is what it will do. Then I will close this. So the moment it does that, it will encounter this guy. Then it will increment I. This one is I plus plus. It will increment I. Oh, sorry. One. This is it. It will experience this. This is the open curly bracket. This is the closed curly bracket. When it encounters this closed curly bracket, it will increment I to what? To 1. So initially, I was 0. Now, it will increment I to 1. I becomes 1. 1 is less than 5. That is true. It will come in here again. And it will print enter mark. I is now 1. 1 plus 1, 2. So I will enter 20. Scanf will take that 20 and take it to the address of what? Of mark 1. So the address of mark 1, it will store that 20 there. Then it will encounter this guy. Then it will increment this one to 2. Right? 2 is less than 5. It will come in. And then it will repeat the same thing. So it will repeat this 3. So I'll put 30. It will repeat this 4. Then I'll put 40. Then it will repeat this 5. I'll put 50. So when it increments this 1 now to 5, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. That is index. Now, when it increments this one to 5, I less than 5, that is no longer true. So it will not enter into this loop. It will come out. When it comes out, it will experience this. Print F. Then in this place, I'll put a string literal again. Then I'll put /n, right? Then I'll put arrays element, right? /n again, close this. So what this is simply saying is that go one line space, a new line, then print out array element. I can put this here. Then give another line again. Then I will use a for loop again to print out the element on the screen. Right? I will use another for loop to print out the element on the screen. So the space here is no longer enough. So I'm just going to come here and demonstrate that part. So this for loop again, I should bring it here. So I'll just say for I assign 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, then I'll do this. So I'll say print F %d, comma, max I. Then I'll close this. Then I'll close this. Then I'll say return 0. Then this curly bracket, I'm putting it here, for example. So this is another way that I can initialize my array, right? Using this for loop to initialize the array by asking the user to enter the value. And then once that is done, I'll use another for loop again to traverse the array element and then print them out on the screen. So I'm just going to go to the computer and demonstrate this for you to see. So that's what I want to show you in this class. The next class, I'm going to teach you two-dimensional arrays and then intro to what? Multi-dimensional array. So that is what I will do. So let's go to code blocks and let me demonstrate this for you to see how it works. This is our code blocks. I've written the script, so I just want to execute it for you to see. Now this is it, included cio.h int main. Then I declared an array with 5 elements. Then I also declared the loop pointer, the loop counter. Then this place, I made this a statement. So I'm going to remove it just to make you see what will be the initial content of the array, right? That is declared inside main. That means it's going to contain garbage value. So I will still do that. Now this is the for loop that I'm going to use to enter the array. So I'm going to execute this and then you will see. So you can see printf, enter mark, then scanf will receive whatever I will punch in and then store it in the memory. Then printf, this one will print out the array on the screen. So let's execute this script for you to see. So to ask me, enter mark. See, enter mark. So I will enter 10. Then when I press enter, it will ask me again, enter mark 2. So you see, enter mark 2. So I will enter 20. Enter mark 3, I will enter 30. Enter mark 4, I will enter 40. Enter mark 5, I will enter 50. Now when I press enter now, it's going to print them out on the screen. Can you see that? So this is it. Array element 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then it will end. So if I end it and then I execute it again, watch, it's asking me enter mark, that is enter mark 1. So I can put 50, enter mark 2, 60, enter mark 3, 70, enter mark 4, 80, enter mark 5, 65, enter, it will print it out. Array element, 50, 60, 70, 80, 65. That is it. So it's receiving the data from me and then printing it out on the screen again as an array. So that is what it will do. So that's what I want to show you in this class. Now, assuming I remove this, let me show you what will be the element values when it is not initialized. So I declare the array inside a main function. So I'm using this for loop to show you first what will be the content of the array, right? Even before I start to initialize it. So I click this. Now you see, look at the initial values, 6422. These are garbage values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that. Before it will now ask me to enter marks. So 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Now you see, these are the new values inside the array. Initially, these were the values, so garbage values. That is what I was telling you. So that is what I want to show you in this class. We will see in the next class. Bye-bye.